So welcome everyone to the Developers Live 2024. Here with me, it's Natalia and me, Remo. We are working on the AEM rapid development environment within Adobe. And this on-demand session here will talk about, first of all, what is the cloud velocity, development velocity, how do we set up and use the RDE, how do we interact with it, how we get insights for logs, for example, some advanced topics connected with edge delivery services, which is called crosswalk, and what are the upcoming features that we will provide in near future. So I hand over to you, Natalia, for the cloud development velocity.
Thank you, Remo. So first of all, let's go into introduce what was the problem that we tried to solve. So basically, as you all know, you have the local SDK that you can just run locally on your laptop, and then you can get a quick feedback and deploy within seconds. Okay, but the problem is, everything works in your local setup, but then you go to the cloud and then it fails. That's what usually happens. Everyone fails with everything. So then we saw some misparity onto the local SDK. If we go to the next slide, there you go. For the cloud-only features that can be easily tested, that's what we found out. Not only that, also that maintaining the local SDK in your local laptop can be consuming a lot of time. And it's a little bit painful, right? Because you need to update it and to be updated with the latest version. So then we decided we go to the next. Okay. So the process is you can deploy from your local laptop to a dev environment. That's what it happened before having the solution that we implemented. This long process took around 30 minutes in good scenarios. It can be even worse, right? Because there are a lot of checks that we do in the pipeline in the middle. We do the build in ourselves. We do also some validations, a lot of validations, and also the deployment, right? Proper rollout, with multiple instances that need to be shut down, and then new AEM instances that need to be up. So this was a long process. Therefore, if we go to the next, we decided, okay, why we don't create a new SDK in the cloud with a new environment type, and then customers can buy or create several of that new environment. There is no pipeline associated. Because pipeline is good. But then as soon as you have a pipeline, you have multiple steps defined on that, and then it's taking time. So it's going to be like a local SDK, right? Local SDK on the cloud. So we put AEM there, and then this new environment type supports changes at runtime. So then directly, you can update configurations, bundles, scripts, web tier config, and even more that we're going to show in this talk. The thing is that you can validate now your new code very quickly. And this can be done via a new API that we did. And the AIO CLI commands. There is a new plugin for the RDE commands, this new environment that we created. That my workmate Remo will explain later in deep. And then you can use that CLI in order to push the code to the cloud quickly. So if we go, there you go. So rapid development environments, this is how we call it. The thing is that now between the local environment that you have, with your code, you are developing there in your laptop, to go to the cloud and quickly iterate over the changes, the feedback and the deploy is going to be within seconds to a few minutes in the worst scenario where you have a big content package. But the thing is that since you can deploy small entities of the code, like a new configuration, a new bundle update, then it can be even seconds, right? Because it's a small part that you update from your project. This is really good because then in the cloud, you can get the advantages like you have, add-ons are available. You have all the cloud services available. Everything should be the same as any other environment. We will explain a little bit the differences of the infrastructure, but the same is the same. The rest is the same. These are mutable instances, by the way. So things that is actually what allows us, to directly make the changes and runtime. Let's go deeper into the differences of the infrastructure. So let's again go into the process that I explained before. You are the developer. You are there in your local computer, and then you run an AIO command with a new plugin. Then first thing that it does is to upload the thing that you want to deploy to the cloud. Then it gets back as a URL. And then with this URL, we ping our servers. This server actually is the package processor that you can see on the image. It is running the analyzers. So we are also running the same analyzers as we do in the pipeline for that. And also we push the package to AEM. So in case of an analyzer, return an error, then you will see like the deployment stops, then the deployment is staged, and then you can perform new installations on top of the previous one. Like imagine, a bundle is missing, then you just install the bundle on top of that, and then it's gonna continue. Then it continues to AEM. And then in the cloud, what we are gonna have is a single author pod and a single publish pod. This is actually something to highlight. There is no high availability in rapid development environments because actually that is a plan, right? It's like the local SDK is there, and then you install something. If the thing that you're installing makes AEM to be restarted, you'll see a small outage, right? Because actually AEM will be restarting. That's how it works in the local SDK. It's the same, but with the advantages, as I previously mentioned, you have all the feature parities in the cloud. And not only that difference, there is no high availability, as I mentioned. Also that we are using for the author and the publish, we are using the segment store. There is no MongoDB over here. So those are the two main differences. The rest would be more or less the same. And now, saying that, I pass it over to my workmate Remo to continue the presentation.
Thank you very much, Natalia. So yeah, we can see the RD is a more simple setup of an entire cloud AEM infrastructure, which makes it easy for development. So how do you actually, as a developer, get one of the RDs? So first of all, you got to log into Cloud Manager, as you're used to when you create a new dev environment or stage environment. But instead of adding a new development environment, you can choose a new rapid development environment. You see on the top right on the screen. So basically, you're choosing that. There's also an entire documentation about how to enable RD in a program, where you get stepped through how you add the entire RD to it. But in the end, the bottom line is instead of adding a new development environment, you add a new rapid development environment. All the rest is the same. But in the end, that you can communicate with the RDE, you need some additional tooling. And the bottom line is what is here shown on the right side. You're going to use NPM. You need to have that installed because the entire AIO CLI runs with it. So you have to use the Adobe AIO. There's also a lot of documentation online that you find about a guide how you install the command line tools. And there's even videos with instructions how you set up and how you use an RD. But we will talk you through here in this show. So the bottom line is install npm, install the AIO CLI, which is the base of the AIO commands. You got to check if the AIO installed successfully. Easiest way to do that is to call AIO help in your command line. And once this works, you can install the RDE plugin with that command. So you say AIO plugins install and install the Adobe AIO CLI plugin for the AEM RD. And once this is all set up, you can basically go on and use some of the basics in AIO CLI, which I will talk about next. So in the next 4 slides, there will be quite some information I'll talk you through before I go into a demo where we actually try out those things. But instead of jumping forth and back, I think it's the best if we just go over the slides real quick. So what are the basic commands? First of all, you have the AIO aem RDE --help, which will give you a help manual page, what you can do with the commands. There's even dedicated man pages about each of the individual commands that we have. So we will start using the AIO login and then do the setup. The setup will allow you to easily choose from your organization's programs and environments in there and list all the RDEs, so you can pretty easily then configure your system to use your RDE. And we're going to check it with the RDE status command on how your RDE is currently set up. Then some more things we will do is we will install the weekend template. I guess you know that from the local SDK that you can use as well. We're going to log into the author and take a look at the pages which are there. And basically, we will use for that the install command. We will also talk about how we can go in and see the history of the RDE, what has happened in there using the RDE history command. And then after the demo, we can play around with the delete or the reset command, which basically allow you to remove a previous deployed bundle or can reset your AEM in your RDE to the latest version or wipe the content that you have installed on it. So that's like the basic. Further than that, we will take a look at how we can get insights. There we have the functionality for logs. The problem there with logs usually is that in AEM on the cloud service, you have to change log levels, and that means you have to deploy an OSGI configuration, which, yeah, if it goes through the entire pipeline and everything, it just takes a lot of time. But now this you can do in an RDE. There's 2 ways of doing that. You could either put the OSGI configuration within the RDE with an install, which will take some time, or even faster, you can tail live logs with a special RDE command, which I will show you on the next slide. Basically, you can access live logs of the author or publish pods by using the AIO aem RDE logs command. So this is really live logs, like a tail -f that you do on whatever log file that you have in your quick start. Here it's just the same thing. It goes to the RDE on the cloud and prints out those logs to your console. There's various ways you can do. You, for example, can put debug logs on for com.adobe and also put debugs log on for org Apache. That's the way you could put it. I mean, you can put your own packages there, obviously. You have also the possibility to have just one definition of the debug level, like info here, and then use space-separated ones for easier mentioning of the packages you want to see. You can mix the log levels, obviously, with warn, error, info, debug all together. And there's also shorthand names that gives you a little bit of quicker feedback. So that's basically what we will be looking at. I'll now stop the presentation real quick and start sharing my screen. Basically, we're taking a look at the RDE command. So I have installed everything with the npm, the AIO CLI, and the plugin for RDEs. And first of all, we're going to check what is there in the help. So we can see, okay, we have those commands that I mentioned before. We have the most important one, the install, the history, and the delete commands, which will give you the power to install bundles or whatever artifacts you want to put on there. You can see the history, what has changed on the RDE, and you can remove them again. So first of all, we got to do a configuration that we can connect our local computer to your RDE that you have on the cloud. How do you do that? There is, first of all, you need to do AIO login, which will bring you to the login page of any other Adobe service. So you have to enter your username and credential, choose your organization, and from there you basically then go back into here the console, which gives you a token that is then used with communicating with the RDE. For reasons here for the demo, I have already done that and prepared because it takes a while, and I don't want to bore you with a login process that you already know. So how do we now connect my computer to the RDE? It's basically AIO aem RDE setup. That's the command that you can use to configure it. So it will first of all ask you, do you want to store that setup information locally or globally? Here I always propose to use the local storage, which will put all the information into your .aio file in your current folder. This helps to ease to switch between different RDEs that you have configured. So I say, yeah, I want to store this locally. So we can see it has now selected the organization, which is tied to my login that I've done previously, and it now lists all the different programs that are in my organization. And here I can also use my keys up and down to select, or I can filter because I know I want to go for the ones with RDE. So we have here RDE development. Okay, I can choose that. And now we are retrieving all the environments inside that program. And I have prepared a RDE in here, which is for the def-live. So I can also search for def-live, which will give me the only RDE there. So I can see the state is ready. Everything's fine. So I just select that one. And now we can see that we have selected that RDE. So when we do now aem RDE status, we are connecting to that RDE. And we can see we get some feedback. There's the information for this program and environment. It's called the def-live demo 1. And we can see the environment is ready, but we don't have anything installed, neither in offer publish for bundles or configuration. So it's a clean, wiped, fresh RDE in here. Also, if we go to the history of the RDE, we can see that there is basically nothing, no updates yet. So it's really a clean RDE. So what do we do now? First of all, I'm going to install the weekend package. This will now choose automatically what type it is, because I have not provided type. It tries to guess. It's using content package, obviously. We can see it's pretty big. It's 136 megabytes. So now it's uploading to the cloud. And we now get back after the upload is completed. We get the source URL that Natalia talked before. So we now pushed that source URL to the RDE, which now starts to download that package again from the cloud. So another 136 megabytes being transferred. So that takes a little bit of time. The entire process to install now this content package is, depending on your speed, between 1 and 2 minutes. And obviously that's a really big thing. If you would just deploy a simple OSGI configuration file, which is a couple of bytes, this will be done within seconds. So now we got to wait for this to happen. I will speed it up probably for you, so you don't have to wait on that. Maybe in the meantime, I can go and log into my RDE. I can see that when I'm there, I don't have anything there yet, just pure bone RDE content. So we're going to wait on the content package to be installed. Oh, now it's done. We can see there's we have deployment completed for that package. Also, we can see there's no logs available for that. That means whenever there would be an error during installation of a content package or whatever you put up there, you would get here the feedback, what has happened, why did it not install? Did you maybe violate some API regions? Do you miss some dependencies, whatever? So you would directly get that feedback in here. You can also, if you maybe close your terminal and you want to go back to that, right, and get that feedback out again, you can do aem RDE history. which we now see that, okay, we have a deployment. Okay, what has happened there? Number one, let me get the history of number one. And then we basically get everything back in the same thing as we did before. So you see, we have it installed, we have the update, there were no logs. So you basically get the same output here again. So in case you missed the logs there, you can always go and retrieve that again. So if we now go in here and refresh the page, we can see we have now the weekend site deployed. What do we have in there? We basically go to the English version with the magazine, and I want to show you San Diego Surf, I think is the use case I've prepared. Yeah, exactly. So we have to go in there and edit the page, which will bring it up. So after a few seconds, I hope we should see what's there. Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to show that stuff anymore. So yeah, we have the weekend installed in here. And what we are now going to do is basically here at the bottom, we have Justin, and we want to add something to Justin here without the need of like redeploying everything and taking it down and pipelines and stuff, but we want to be quick. So how do we achieve that, right? So first of all, let's take a look at the logs that are currently there. Then we will change what is here and add some additional logs and see if they pop up. So for that, I'm going to use maybe just I copy paste it, it's a bit faster. So we're going to show the logs that are now printed with debug level for Adobe and Org Apache. And if we do that, we can see the logs are being tailed. And I mean, debug log, obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, it's a bit fast. So maybe you want to narrow that down, which means, okay, let's take a look at what the weekend is putting out there. So we're going to do debug on the AIM Guides weekend. And if we do that, we don't get much because obviously there's no traffic. So I'm going to move that aside a little bit. And whenever I refresh my page here, we should start seeing something. At least this was the case last time that I did that. So yeah, sorry, I forgot to put in the logs, obviously. First of all, we're going to change the code which we want to deploy. So for now, what is there? We have basically just that get occupations, which is what is shown here next to Justin. So let's add this one here. Yeah, obviously, I should return here the sorted occupations, which we have now added. This is basically, we're adding journalist next to the occupation, and we log an info about that journalist being added to Justin. I will now not put in the sorted occupations here anymore, or not right now, for another use case later on. But let me save that. Then I basically build the core package of the weekend. This takes a couple of seconds. So it has built, and then I go back to my console where I install the built package now. We can see it's using now type OSGI bundle. It has uploaded it. That was pretty fast. Now it's applying inside the RDE, which takes a couple of seconds. So we can see deployment of number 2 was fine. It was deployed on offer and publish. So now let's go back and put some logs for info. Since I put it to the info level, that was actually the error before why I didn't get anything. So when I now refresh the page, I do get the logs that we see, okay, we have added journalist to the list of occupations of Justin. But if we go down, obviously they're not there because I've not put the sorted occupations into the return value. I just want to basically showcase here, like, yeah, if you forgot something in the pipeline, you would now have it, but you have to run it through the pipeline again. It takes a lot of time. So what else do we do here? We just say, yeah, true, gotta fix that bug, put it in, build. There we are. Install it again. Upload is done. Takes a couple of seconds to apply the bundle in the RDE. We can see number 3, deployment was all fine, both on author and publish. Now let's tail the logs again and refresh the page. So we can see again, journalist was added, and here at the bottom, we should now see journalist as well. So now the code was also updated there twice, actually, in that few minutes. And that's basically how we do that. So what else do we want to do? We can, for example, in here with the logging feature, if you go to AEM RDE logs --help, you can see a bit more information that I showed on the slide before. For example, we have colors that you can enable, disable. So different log levels have different colors. We can highlight some substrings. For example, we could highlight journalist, and then the entire line would be highlighted there. You can target a specific tier like author or publish, and you have even some quick commands or target flags that you can choose a different RDs if you like to do so. Yeah, I think that's all said. The last thing that I would need to do as a developer now, because I'm done, is to reset my RD. So I do that, which will now basically call Cloud Manager, who will then reset my environment, wipe everything, update the AEM version to the latest release. And yeah, there we go. So I think that's it from the demo. So now I will go and share the presentation again. So we have advanced topics. And before I hand over to Natalia, I'll first want to say 2 things about that. First of all, we have a --JSON flag that is available on most of the commands. They give you proper feedback. So this one here is from a status reply. So we can see on the author, we have OSGI bundles installed, which have this ID. It's a type OSGI bundle. We have some metadata attached. We have also configs in there with my servlet. So you get like a structured feedback that you can use in your CI/CD environment, in any scripting that you do. So we make sure there's no console output from our side, and just really the JSON feedback for you, so that you can also use that in scripting. There's a documentation on the regular RD environment documentation online. There's a section about JSON reference where you see the content of each command, so that you can have a proper overview of what you need to look for in the scripts. Then the last thing I'm going to talk about is the AIO contexts. So a context is basically your connection to your RDE, right? As we can see here. I have a context called stage, and that one has some access tokens in there, which represent my login, my permissions and authorization. And then we store something like the org ID, program, environment that you work with. So that's basically your RDE. And that entire information can be either stored globally or also locally in a known context. And doing so would be done with those commands here on the side. So first of all, we say, okay, AIO config set -JSON for -L for local, create me a new IMS context stage with some default values of the bear output. Then we use the AIO auth plugin to set the context to stage. So all the logins, they know they're going to use this context. So when you do AIO login, the access tokens get stored directly into that context. And this basically helps you because with a few commands in your CI/CD script, you can always log in again. The data gets stored locally, and our AIO RD commands will pick it up. So you don't have any like interferences with different RDEs, different CI/CD jobs that run, anything like that. So it's pretty convenient for you to just use that and basically have a nice CI/CD run for that. So that's it for me. Hand over back to you, Natalia.
Thank you, Remo. That was awesome. Okay, let's continue. So what else? What do we have as advanced topics? Well, we also support now front-end pipeline between inverted quotes because there is no pipeline for rapid development environments. Remember that is how it is called for any other environments. So you can now push front-end packages. How do you do that? Well, again, in your local laptop, then you just build the front-end package using npm run build, and then it will generate a couple of important files that those are the ones that we are going to upload. Just take care of that. It's like the dist folder where all the distribution packages has been built by Node, and also the package.json file. Those are actually the ones that we will now use when you run AIO aem-live install. You can use the type frontend and point to the folder that where your files are living. Behind the scenes, this is going to create a temporal zip file, and then the zip file is going to be uploaded. We will process the zip file, and then it will be pushed directly to be used as a front-end package. So as soon as you get back the feedback, go back. As soon as you get back the feedback for the logs, you can see the deploy artifact is completed. And then you can see also a hash. If you go to your website and inspect via the networking tools in the browser, inspect the requests, you should see that now your requests are going and using this new hash that is being returned here. So this is how you push a new front-end package. Now if we continue. So, okay, now we have configuration pipeline support. Again, pipeline, there is no pipeline in RDEs, but this is something that we currently support. It is generally available now, and you can perform the same changes as you do via the config pipeline to dev stage and prod, also for RDEs. As an example, here we can see if we want to perform like a config into the CDN, this example shows on the YAML file that you need to create. And the same way you do it for the pipeline is the same exactly. We are going to block a path on the author and publish tiers, and then it's pretty straightforward because for the RDE case, we just need to run the command AIO aem-rd install with the type n-config and point to the folder where our configuration files are living, these YAML files. Again, behind the scenes, as in the front-end pipeline, this is going to zip all the files that you have in that folder that you are pointing out, and then push it to the cloud, and then push it to the AEM instances, and then everything is going to be completed and deployed as soon as you get the message, hey, it was completed. The new config CDN was detected, and it's done. This is going to be done in between seconds or 1 minute, so it's super fast. What else do we have? Well, the latest topic that we wanted to show you here is that actually RDEs also work for edge delivery services with crosswalk. It might be one advantage for you in case you need to perform any changes on the AEM side, because as you have seen with RDEs, it's super quick to perform those changes and iterate and develop over there. So let's go very quickly how to configure it. I mean, it's the same as in any other environment, but you can see here we will select a new template and then configure it and deploy to the AEM instance in my author. In this case, this is the typical edge delivery services template that you can see on the tutorial, which is publicly available. And then more things that we need to configure if we go next are the paths.json file in your GitHub repository or your Git repository. And also the fstab file, YAML file, pointing to the other instance, right? Because you can see there is my program ID and my environment ID pointing to the right instance. So you configure all of this following the tutorial again. And then if we go next, the last thing that we need to do is to quickly publish the template, all the entities that we have there. And when we publish, as soon as we do this, we can then go to the next slide. Yeah. So then we can go here to the Edge Delivery Services website for our instance. And then we can see template is deployed. But as in Crosswalk, now you can go to the onboard editor that we can see on the next slide. Yeah, there you go. And then here we can just perform any change and publish it quickly. So this is just a way, to deploy quickly and iterate over the universal editor here for Crosswalk. So actually, even more, as I mentioned in the beginning, okay, yeah, this works for RDEs, dev stage prod, right? This is just another case of environment that it should work as expected. But the thing for RDEs is that, imagine that following the tutorial, there are some cases where we want to deploy some configurations to our environment to properly configure the editor and blah, blah, blah. So now if we go next, we can see those couple of configurations that are shown in the tutorial. Is the token authentication handler and also the Slim Mail servlet change, configuration change. But with RDEs, it's as simple as, running an AIO aem-live install with the OAGI config type and then point to the configuration. This is just an example. And then it gets deployed within seconds. So actually, it's super quick, and then you don't even need to run the pipeline, even accelerating more the development with Crosswalk. So saying that, we are done with the Crosswalk tag, and we go, okay. The upcoming features. So just to highlight what is next or what we are planning to have next on RDEs. This is not yet developed. This can change. I mean, disclaimer, this is just presented here like a pretty news, exclusive news, right? What is upcoming. We want to have RDEs working with snapshots because so far when you reset your environment, then you lost the content. We received the customer feedback that this is not the best experience. Sometimes the content, to start over, install all the content, start over, get it up. But then we collected the feedback and we said, okay, makes sense. Let's work on some snapshotting. How we think the commands might look like, although again, this can change, is something like AIO aem-RDE snapshots, and then having a create snapshot, having a list snapshots, having an apply, where you just apply the snapshot that you previously created, or you can delete the snapshot because we encourage you to delete the snapshots. We might even have like a limit of snapshots because otherwise garbage is there and it's not maintainable at all. So yeah, this is something that ideally you just create a snapshot, then you continue working, then you say, oh, okay, I need to go back. And then you just apply the previous snapshot that you created, and then you continue. And it's even more, a better experience for developing. If we go next, yeah. So more things that we have in mind is to have also automatic updates without needing to reset the RDE, because now, again, you lost all the content when updating to a newer AEM version. And, just keep the content. So just to end.
Yep. So thank you, Natalia. That looks really, really nice. Even a faster developer experience and velocity with the new features that are upcoming. So if you have any Q&As that you want to ask, unfortunately, this is just a recording for you. So it's an on-demand session. We're not here live, right, for you, but you can find us live on Discord. So if you use that Discord channel, please join there. There will be a direct connection to our RDE development guys. So Natalia, me, and some other colleagues that are working on RDEs We'll answer your questions there. And there's also some, I think, a way of giving feedback to the presentation or asking questions directly here at Developers Live. Please use that opportunity, and we will definitely reach out back to you, because I believe we need to hear what are your needs, your workflow, what do you need in RDEs, because we want to make you faster, and we want to make it easier to apply changes to the AEM on the cloud, which will help us all in the end. Therefore, thank you very much for joining this Developer Live session in 2024, and hopefully see you next year. Bye-bye.